I asked three friends of mine who know me extremely well. I said, I don't even know who I am anymore. Can you just give me a mirror quickly? Like, how am I being perceived? Because I don't know, this is all gone. And I think I can choose now who I want to be. That would be very feminine. And also, then how do I express this?
So the first question is about women in business.
Mhm.
It's more about how can women embrace their femininity and their feminine qualities, especially in male-dominated environments, and still being taken seriously. That's something I feel like I struggle with quite a bit
Mhm.
when I work with men. I don't want to say that they're not fair, but I can feel that they don't treat me the same as male coworkers.
Okay. May I ask you, what is the difference in treatment that you personally feel you're receiving?
Yeah, I just recently experienced this actually. I talked to another colleague of mine, another woman, and she told me the same thing. So that's why I was like, oh, so it's not just me. I thought it was just me. I started a job and they were really nice to me.
Hmm.
But when they started giving me tasks, I felt like they were a little hesitant about it and they were like kind of giving me tasks that were really simple. And then I looked over to a male colleague and he was doing much more difficult things. And then over time, it got a lot better. Now I do the same things as he did. But then, like last week, I talked to a female friend and she was like, oh, you know what? It was the same for me when I started. I felt like they were just not really giving me the same task because they felt like I couldn't do it.
Okay. Have you talked to the male guy and asked him how it was when he started?
Yes, I have not. I didn't ask him if he felt like women were treated differently, but I asked him and he was like, "Oh no, they just threw me right in and gave me tasks that were like very challenging." And
I see. Well, the thing is, you could look at it from two ends. So the one end is that they might have considered him being more up for the task, or they might have seen you as more of a, let's say, human being and giving you time to actually adapt and see. So you can, there's two ways of looking at it. For
yeah,
example, the male colleague could have said, why didn't I get a warm-up phase? But you both obviously got a warm-up. So it's just a perspective thing.
yeah.
Just to frame this. The question is, I think when it comes to female and male, feminine and masculine, we have to look at three things. So the first thing is that everybody is usually talking about this. I'm just putting this into the space so we have a little bit more of an informed conversation here. The first level is gender identity. That is what everybody's usually talking about.
Yeah.
Am I a woman? Am I a man? Or am I in any of these? I think currently it's 58 boxes you can check on Facebook if you create a profile. When I saw that for the first time, it's a while ago, I was like, huh, maybe I'm not just female. You don't know, let's see
Yeah.
what's
Got to
there.
read through all of them.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's the gender debate. Like this is about identity and how do I want to be perceived, and um it's about value, it's about dignity, it's about language, it's about all these things. That's one thing. The next thing is biology. So the female nervous system equipment, this body here, as the equipment that we received to live in this life, works totally different from a male body. And if you look at that, for example, a male body is experiencing a 24-hour cycle, and a female body is experiencing 24 hours plus 28 days ish. And we know, you and I know, that depending on where we are in these 28 days, we experience things differently. We're either more powerful or more receptive. Like we're either more out or more in. That's actually the only difference there is. And then that's personal interpretation. How does that make us feel? Are we comfortable with being more out or more in? What feels better, etc. That's the second layer of when we look at women and men. And the third layer is the inner faculties. That's the stuff that you know a little bit already from me. That's on the framework. It's feminine and masculine, motivation, background, behavioral patterns, etc. So what you describe is something that is clearly a gender debate thing, because it's like, okay, a woman gets treated differently from a man, and how can I now, your question is, how can you be more a woman in a masculine or male dominated field? And I would look at all these three things. So first of all, I would look at, okay, so I didn't get thrown into the deep end of work at the beginning, but eventually they treated me equally. So you can either look at it as I got a warm-up phase, or they didn't trust me to do it. This is up to you. Like, if I were you, I would decide, how do I want to be, how do I want to see this? Because your inner stance is going to create a lot of resonance on the outside. So if you like, I personally would say, oh, thank you, I got a warm-up phase, and make it like this is a red carpet situation. You know, the guy, he just had to perform. I actually got to land. This is me when I'm working with myself, when I feel like, hey, I'm like, how can I reframe this so it actually suits me?
That's crazy. I never thought about it that way, but it does make sense because I initially I felt very insulted. I was like, I can do this. Don't
Yeah.
like think I can't do it just because I'm a woman. But that's a very interesting perspective. I've never thought about it that way to just
Yeah,
reframe it and
it's
think of
not
it.
necessarily about men and women. It's just because you brought up that example. But
Yeah.
everything that happens to me where I feel like, hey, I'm always like, hang on, how can I reframe this so it suits me? That's something that usually shifts things so quickly. And also, I understand that life is for me. So whatever happens is supposed to be good for me. How can I reframe this initial impulse reaction into something more graceful, basically, and something that's actually, all right, okay, warm-up phase. Thank you. So that's the first thing that I would do. And then when it comes to how can I be more of a woman in work, I think, or what I try to do, I can just tell you what I try to do. There's
Mhm.
different approaches, but what I try to do is I understand that I have feminine and masculine in a faculty. So my masculine is I'm being very visionary, as in I have a clear path. I want to go there and have a vision beyond the vision, et cetera, et cetera. And then I'm really good at structuring myself, because I know that I have times when I can't be bothered to structure myself. I create structures that hold me when I can't be bothered. So, for example, um, I'm giving you a real life example. I've just called Saint Larissa. I mixed up the dates, the times, and now I don't have the questions. Did you check them? And she just called me back and said, it's all there, da 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 da. And I was like, huh. I installed a structure in this sense, a beautiful human being who is supporting me in my purpose, who has my back when I just mix things up. So that is me installing the masculine faculties in my life by, it's sometimes a human being, it's sometimes a machine, it's sometimes AI, tech. A structure can be a place that you like to work. Your place here looks beautifully. It looks like um, it looks like a place that holds you well. That would be structure. So that's your masculine. All these things, vision and structure. And then your feminine would be the way you express yourself and how you're being perceived and how your inner world, like, are you in touch with your emotions? Are you in touch with what you actually want to be seen for, with your, what is your current identity? And for example, I've shifted so much recently. I asked three friends of mine who know me extremely well. I said, I don't even know who I am anymore. Can you just give me a mirror quickly? Like, how am I being perceived? Because I don't know, this is all gone. And I think I can choose now who I want to be. That would be very feminine. And also, then how do I express this? Am I like, expression is anything from visual to language to any artifacts thereof, like a website, a LinkedIn profile, an Instagram profile pic, all these things. So if you say you want to be more feminine in your work, that means you don't need anyone for you to do that. You can just say, okay, every time I go to the bathroom, that's my standard trick, I'm going to check in with myself. How am I? How does my body feel? The feminine is the aliveness in the body. How does my body feel and how am I emotionally? Am I reading my warm data and letting that feed the rest of my day or like the next meeting? Or it would be something like when I enter the room, what do I want to walk as? I want to walk as, for example, I mostly want to walk as faith. Faith in humankind, basically, in our species, in this planet, in the fact that we can make this. So when I have an important meeting, I'm like, I locate this in my body and then I enter the room as that. That would be being more feminine because you are in touch with your inner world. And then how do I express this? I realize, oh, I'm again talking too fast. One big thing for me. So I'm realizing slowing down, grounding more. Where is my essence? I'm walking as faith. How can I be resonating with the field without losing faith when they have doubt? Like all these, like very much in inner dialogue with myself. That would be being more feminine. And then it doesn't matter what they are doing. It doesn't matter. You're just you in touch with your femininity. Does that help?
Yeah, no, it does, definitely. I mean, I always look so much at others, I feel like, and
Mm.
it makes so much sense to be like, okay, I can't influence what they are doing, but why am I even bothered? Like this is about me and I should be in touch with myself and not let anybody else define who I am or how I feel in that very moment. And I feel like that's a really good approach. I've never actually thought about this.
Beautiful. And it's also what you're just describing is it that makes you sovereign. That makes you a sovereign human being because you're not a product of your circumstance. You are a human being who is beautifully in touch with herself and walking as that. And and from that you actually go into connection with others. So it's not, there's two, you can also swing the pendulum to the other side. You're always looking at the others and you're always just looking at yourself. With the first one, you're forgetting yourself. With the second one, you're forgetting the others. But you have to be a sovereign being and connect from there. Otherwise, you're only just trying to fit in, basically. And or you're upset with not fitting in when you realize it, like the initial situation that you described, that you felt like not treated fairly. And you're like, hey, but and when you take it back to you, then you can reach out again, but from your essence and not from whatever is going on there. All right.
Yeah.